All doing? Is that us now, Charlene? How are you all doing, folks? Lovely to see you this morning. So sorry, let me just get this wee box. Yeah, just get that wee box down. So my name is Amanda St. John, as you know from the workshop. I would love to know how many of you guys are songwriters. So I don't know if the chat's showing up there. So if you have any questions as it goes, like I suppose this is my first time ever doing one of these over Zoom. So normally we're all in the same room and it's very inclusive and there's great communication and feedback and stuff. So if anybody does have anything to say, Charlene, maybe you could manage that in the chat. Oh, there's the chat up the side here now. So hello, Sylvia. Hello, Rosie. Saskia, is that right? Yeah, so very nice to see you. Juanita, Grania, Alexandra, hello there, everybody. So Grania saying she's a singer-songwriter, brilliant. Is everybody like at beginner level? There's Alexandra saying complete beginner. Yeah, let me know what level you are at, because that would help me as well. So I suppose where I'm coming from with this, the context of this workshop is tips for better songwriting. So I'm quite sure you all know like the very basics of like lyrics and melody and song structures and stuff. So I will go over that a little bit. But the context of this today was to, I suppose for me to share, like I've been writing I've been writing most of my life, to be honest, but more so the last 10 years, I've really focused on being a songwriter.
Again.
Yay, somebody said, who's that? Julia said she's a rapper, singer, songwriter, spoken word, brilliant. Songwriter, producer, brilliant. Rosie's been writing songs for 40 years. Well done, Rosie. Going as a full-time musician, I always feel like there's room for learning and new tips and tricks. Absolutely. So I suppose the first thing to say is, as much as I have, like, I'm not an expert. I am a singer-songwriter who has made my career through producing albums. I have 2 albums out and an EP. But I suppose the main thing is to say that I'm not an expert on this, but I do hope that I can share some of the things that have helped me or some of the things that I've learned over the years. So for those of you who are more confident, I suppose, or more experienced, be open that as much as some of this information is like common sense, quite a lot of it is common sense, isn't it? But as much of it as some of it is common sense, be open that there might be something that you haven't heard before, or that you've already heard it but you're not putting it into practice. So I'm going to go over a few things with you now. So the first thing I'm going to do, I need to learn how to share the screen. These Zooms are a whole different ball game, aren't they? So here are the five topics that I have chosen to talk about today. So within those, there's going to be like lots of information too, but these are the 5 headings that I've chosen to start with. So the first one is creating space. So how do we create the space for creativity? How do we make sure that we're in the right zone for writing? Because for me, that's very much a big part of what it is. The second one is study your favorite songs. I know this sounds so simple, but you would not believe the amount of conversations I have with people that haven't even thought of thinking about their favorite songs or how they're put together. So that is part of how we learn our craft. So it is. Free writing is a little exercise that I'm going to take you on. It's something that David Bowie uses. I know a lot of writers use that. The Nashville number system, which is quite a controversial one, especially if you're really like good musician. I would not class myself as a brilliant musician. My skills definitely lie within songwriting, singing, lyrics. I would be very much a top line writer. So I struggle with the music and the music theory and the guitar and stuff like that. I really do struggle with that. So the Nashville number system is something that really helps me. Or you could be the best musician on the planet, but this might be something that takes you out of your comfort zone, that gets you out of your head and just gives you something that you can apply in a different way. And the 5th topic is weird tricks. So I know it sounds strange saying weird tricks, but it's just like that list. I could list 20 wee silly wee things that you can do if you're absolutely stuck, you know. I'm going to try and keep an eye on the comments as well. Please feel free to write, because obviously that makes me feel more connected. And the more I get back from you, the more I can give as well. It's like, it helps with the energy exchange, doesn't it? Juanita's saying she doesn't have any traditional music knowledge or background. Definitely don't know the common sense stuff. Okay, very intuitive approach. That's lovely. I would call myself a very intuitive writer too, Juanita. I do not have, as I say, any like formal musical training, or I taught myself how to play guitar. I've been playing guitar since I was about 12. I'm now 42. I don't know if I've got any better in between. I still do not understand, like, yeah, I don't understand the theory behind it. So so I would call myself very much an intuitive writer, and we'll look at that again. Saskia is saying, great advice, you're doing great. Oh, thank you. Practice makes perfect. Yep, absolutely. The more you practice, the easier it becomes. But for some reason, I just don't really get the whole theory side of it. I probably should learn. But anyway, let's get started. So let's look at creating the space. So as you will find throughout this workshop, I would be very intuitive. As I said, I would be a bit of a hippie, to be honest. A very spiritual person. I believe that creativity is very much a part of your brain that you can access if you can get yourself out of the way. So I'm going to show you a wee diagram here. So and this is what helped me understand how the creative mind works. So I'm very into mindset work. I do a lot of coaching and stuff as well. So I'm very into mindset work, and I'm fascinated by how the human brain works. And do you ever notice that the harder you try to do something, the less chance there is of you actually being able to do it? So for me, whenever I kind of start understanding how the brain works, this diagram to me is like really explains it really well. So the top 10%, so what you see there, there's a picture of an iceberg. And I'm sure you've seen this photograph with different contexts before. So there's 10% that you actually are conscious of. So that's your willpower, your analysis, your decision making, your logical brain. That is 10% of the ability of your brain. So we are only conscious of 10%. The other 90% of our brain is our subconscious mind. So that's where creativity lies. That's where your intuition lies. That's where your emotions, your belief systems, your values. So for songwriting, the most important thing now don't leave me now with all this hippie stuff. I am going to get to more practical stuff. But the most important thing I can say to you now is create the space to access that 90% of your brain that is your subconscious, that does give you access to your imagination and your creativity, because that is, for me, the key. So for everybody, creating space will come from different forms. For me, it's about setting time aside. I have to set time aside. I have to make sure that I'm uninterruptible during that time. So I don't know about you, but do you ever you get an idea, or you really go to do something and then somebody interrupts you, like whether if you have children or a phone call or somebody at the door, or you're just, somebody interrupts you. It's very, very hard to stay in the flow. You're trying to get into a flow state where you're really, really relaxed. You're not thinking about it at all. Do you ever notice that you get ideas when you're not trying to get ideas? So 90% of the time, I get my ideas for anything in life when I'm out for a walk, or washing the dishes, or running a bath. Like one of my first song that ever got radio play was a song called Where is the Man? And I remember I was running the bath for my child. I have a daughter who's 13 now. I was running a bath and I just got this melody idea. So the key is to create space for the initial intuition, for the initial concept. Some great points there, saying, haha, I always overthink it. Somebody saying they get ideas in bed, the toilet. Yes, absolutely. Some people, see if you have a really crazy busy life or your head is very busy, sometimes going to the toilet is the only headspace that you get. And I know that sounds ridiculous, but especially this year when everybody's working from home, your children are at home, your partner's at home, there's not a lot of headspace at the moment, so we have to create that. Yes, somebody's saying big magic. Yes, we'll do a list of these at the end as well. I've got some books that I can recommend too. The Artist's Way and Big Magic are two of the main ones that I would recommend. The Artist's Way is incredible, absolutely incredible book. Let me know if you've read that. Sylvia's saying, I totally agree. I find that going back to a place that has inspired me before. Yes, yeah, absolutely. So wherever everybody, I would love you at the end of this, or even now as I'm talking, to write a list of places that are your happy place. Where do you feel totally at ease, totally free, totally like in your spirit? For me, it's the beach. I am such a nature person. Nature is so healing. Nature is meditation. If you're not a meditation, some people access this side of the brain by meditation. I'm a busy person, and as much as I love meditation, sometimes my head is too full. So for me, nature is meditation. So go to a park, go to a beach, go to sit by a river. If you can't do that, I know it sounds crazy, this is where the hippie stuff comes in. Sit and look at a plant. I know that sounds insane, but take 10 minutes and do nothing except look out the window at a tree or look at a plant or something. The whole concept is to clear your mind. Gornia's saying The Artist's Way got me back to creating last year when this all kicked off. I find it hard to create in the home. I'm usually out and about touring, so COVID, The Artist's Way got me back to creating from home. Yeah, The Artist's Way is so brilliant. It's like a pathway, it leads you through. I love the morning pages. The Artist's Way is somebody Cameron, is it? I'll Google it for you, or if somebody can Google The Artist's Way, that would really help. I love the free pages. We're going to be looking at a little bit about that type of writing as well later. Love the free pages, and I also love the artist dates. So she talks about taking yourself on artist dates. So go somewhere, just yourself, no distractions. We give so much of our own headspace, our own time, our own energy to the other people around us, that you have to create the space for just you. So take yourself on an artist date. What inspires you? I read The Artist's Way whenever I was in Dublin, and I used to go to art galleries and parks and museums and photography exhibitions and anything that I could that would fill my tank. It's like filling your creative tank. Concerts, anything that's like inspiring you, that you feel like totally topped up with creativity and inspiration. The Musician's Way is very technical. Yeah, The Musician's Way is very much for, I would say, for musicians, like really technical musicians, but The Artist's Way is a lot more spiritual based. I suppose that's the best way to say it. Somebody was saying they get their ideas in bed at night. Again, when your brain is switched off, you're relaxing, you're not focused on anything. I'm just trying to keep totally, Juanita's saying totally resonate. Nature lover, meditator, visual artist, fabulous. Concerts, yeah, Serene, I totally miss the concerts too. So thank you for your chat, because it all helps so much. I can't tell you the amount of concerts I've been at, and I have listened to a song, or somebody is like performing, and then I get an idea from it. And I'm that idiot that always has her, like, I used to have a dictaphone away years ago. I carried a dictaphone everywhere. Thank God now with the smartphones, it's on voice memos. I am that idiot who is always like singing into their voice notes. So I could be driving in the car, is another really good place for getting ideas, because again, you're not thinking. Driving in the car and a song comes on the radio, and even the introduction, I'll start to hear an alternative melody, and then I switch the radio off, pull over the car, grab my voice memos. This section is all about getting that initial spark of an idea. re-listening and listening to band's favourite songs. Yep, Juanita, Serene saying I get ideas for other songs. Yeah, absolutely. There's only 12 notes, people. In music, there are 12 notes. Everybody's trying to come up with something new, something fresh, something original. I think that's another part of overthinking. Between rhythm and melody and modality and pitch and tone, you know, with those 12 notes and your story, your feeling, your emotion, you can create so much. So using what has already been done before is one of the keys, and I'll go into more detail about that later too. You don't have to come up with something like awe-inspiringly new, because that's really difficult to do with 12 notes. So if you do hear something on the radio that inspires you, use that, as long as you're not like totally replicating the melody. You know, obviously there's copyright issues there, but if you're inspired by something, use it, you know. Have you ever heard of the Access of Awesome? Any of you's heard of that, the Access of Awesome? They're this like Australian band, like a comedy band, and I'm going to run over it for you. So like we're programmed, like popular music. Popular music is something that's commercially viable, that's obviously got a lot of sales and stuff. So pop music, a lot of the main songs are based around the same 4 chords. And anybody who's technical will know this. It's like the 1, 5, 6, 4, which is the Nashville number system. So there's so many songs that are based around the same chord progression. So I don't know about you, but I've been in driving along, listening to the radio, and an introduction comes on, and I think it's a certain song, but it's not. So borrowing from other songs is actually it's very smart psychology in a way, because people already know. So whether you're a fan of popular music or not, I know that most artists want to create something original, but we can learn from it, we can steal from it at times. You don't have to do this. I'm just explaining how that it works. So a lot of songs, like hundreds of songs, thousands of songs, are based around the same 4 chords. They're just changing the rhythm of the songs, they're changing the instrumentation. Obviously, a lot of a song is based around the story and the lyric and the pitch of the melody, but the chord structures are all the same. And it's actually surprising. Destiny's Child, Survivor, The Age of 17, the same intro. Yeah, I remember hearing Craig David's Walking Away. You know that? I'm walking away. And it was like, one love. It was the exact same. But he didn't even try and hide it. Like, the instrumentation was the same, the tempo was the same, and it's that U2 song, One. So I'm walking away from the troubles in my life. One love, one life. So people do it. Saskia is saying I do that a lot too. Producers do the same with samples. Yes, samples are a brilliant way of mixing it up, of just again, samples are massive at the minute, and my daughter is putting on these songs, and then she's like, how do you know that? That's like new in the charts, because obviously I'm early 40s and I'm not cool anymore, you know, when you have a teenager. So she's like, how do you know that? And I was like, that's a song from 30 years ago. So they're using like, just even like, could even be a string or a guitar sample or something. It doesn't have to be the main hook of the song. Or that Destiny's Child. Yeah, the Destiny's Child, The Age of 17, the Fleetwood Mac is a really good reference to that too. Some people get into trouble. So the likes of Destiny's Child, they credited Fleetwood Mac. As long as you credit, you can borrow. And if it's a total rip-off, you can credit them into your songwriting. But there are other people who do it by accident. I do it by accident all the time. Subconsciously, remember the subconscious is 90% of your brain. Subconsciously, we have been listening to songs and we have heard songs hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of times. And that's how they're popular, because we're getting inundated with it, you know. So subconsciously we're hearing this all the time. So we are. But then there's a really good story about Sam Smith. And Sam Smith's Stay With Me, Won't You Stay With Me. Great song. Absolutely great song. But Tom Petty sued him, because Tom Petty was like, that is my exact melody for No, I won't back down. No, I won't back down. And it is, isn't it? So the tone is the same, the rhythm of the lyric is the same. Sam Smith held his hands up and said, I absolutely did not realise that. I am sorry. And he then handed over a percentage of his credits to Tom Petty. So sometimes it's accidental. Sometimes I wonder. I'm sure Saskia is a producer, and I'm sure you can relate to this. Sometimes you're like, that is too close, like, and they haven't credited it. Another good example of that is the verbs. Do you know the verb? Bittersweet symphony this life. Do you know that song? They sampled the Rolling Stones. Do 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 do. They sampled that string section, didn't credit them, and they lost the rights, the whole crediting rights for that song in court. So that was the Verve. The Verve were trying to be, I think, if anybody, I think they lost the whole song because of the argument that it came to. So the royalties, and it's royalties that you make your money in. Yes, thank you, Saskia. You're like my wing woman here. So yeah, they lost the rights to their whole song. It was their most commercial song ever. Their only, well, not their only big hit, but it was their biggest hit. And because they weren't honest about that, they lost the credits. Brilliant that they used that as inspiration. Use it as inspiration as long as you're either changing it, that it's not recognizable, or you are crediting the writer. So I'll go over a wee example of that too, just to show you like that we overthink things. Sometimes things are easier than we think. So the axis of awesome. So it's this chord progression, the 1, 5, 6, 4, for anybody knows what that means. If you don't, I'm going to go over it a wee bit more later. Don't stop believing. Hang on to that feeling. You're beautiful. You're beautiful. You're beautiful, that's true. Forever young, I want to be forever young. If I were a boy, even just for a day, I'd get back to how they want it. Get blah blah, don't know the words. Let it be, let it be, let it be, let it be. Speaking words of wisdom, let it be. What if God was one of us? Just a slot like one of us. Just a stranger on the bus, trying to make his way home. No woman, no cry. No woman, no cry. I think you get the point, don't you? Breakfast at Tiffany's, Alexandra. How does that go? I said, what about breakfast at Tiffany's? They said, I think I remember the film, and as I recall, I bit out my key there. Sometimes the keys aren't sitting right with my voice, but you get the point. So we can use, we can steal things, we can adapt. So all of those songs are 100% their own song in their own right. The chord progression is the same. But yeah, perfect campfire session, absolutely. So yeah, there's a clip called The Axis of Awesome. So there is, and they're like, as I say, they're like an Australian comedy band, and they do that same chord progression, and I think they include something like 40, 50 popular songs. So it's an interesting thing to look at, and it's actually fun. They're very silly and goofy, and it's kind of fun to watch. It did sound all like one song, didn't it, Julia? Yeah, it really, really did. That's the thing. It's like, you know, use what's there, learn from what's there. So get back to our main point. Sometimes I will go off on wee tangents, so I apologise, but we'll try and keep it back to the track. So back to my main point of creating space, creating your headspace. I know it all sounds very hippie. There's some wee tricks. So setting time aside. Set time. If you're serious about being a songwriter, set the time aside. There will be times where the inspiration will come whenever you've cleared your space and you're doing something like walking or going to bed or whatever. Always have your voice, your phone beside you. Well, that's a lot of people will say don't have your phone beside you at bed. But if you have your phone beside you, go onto voice memos. Be brave. I don't care if anybody hears me. I don't care if you're a good singer or not. Sing like blah, blah, blah. Sing the la, 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 la. It doesn't have to be good as long as you can capture that idea. And then what I do, I have hundreds. I wonder, can I even show you this? I have thousands of voice notes. I wonder, can you see that? Can you see that yet? So I am one of those people that will be standing in a shop and in the queue for a shop, walking down the street, going to the park, thousands of voice memos. So what I do then whenever I schedule a songwriting session, I set my time aside. I might have an idea that I'm working on, or I might go to my voice notes and just go through them and go, right, what's here? Where's my ideas to start with? Let me see. Sorry, I'm just trying to catch up on the messages here. What is the chord progression? The chord progression, that one I was using was G, D, E minor and C. G, D, E minor and C. Or somebody, sorry, can't decide. Oh, she's done it into the key of C major. So I was doing it in G, but in C, it's C, G, A, F. I will go over how all that works with you later on, so well. I have so many voice notes where I have no idea what I was thinking at the time. Yes, Grania, I'm exactly the same. Sometimes I go over my voice notes and I'm like, oh, wow, I came up with that. Other times I'm like, what was I thinking? Other times, like Sam Smith, I think I have written an absolute like smasher. I think I have written the best song ever on the planet. And then when I start to form the song and I come back to it maybe a couple of days later, I realise that it's a total rip-off of something else, which is really disappointing when you think you've written the classic and then you realise you've stolen it. But again, it doesn't have to be the end of the idea. If you look at those other songs, they were all very, very similar. If you think you've got something that is too close to something, just change it slightly. Like elongate the phrase, change the pitch, put like an extra note or two into the melody. You can still work it. That's what we're talking about, the crafting. Like you get your idea and then we'll look more about the crafting of the ideas after this. Let me see. I often record into my phone out anywhere. I'm the same as you. Yeah, Juanita, I try to be quiet, but I'm obviously not a very quiet person by nature. So there's times where I'm quiet and there's times I don't actually care. I think there's a certain element of not caring that helps you as a creative. I used to be so worried about what everybody thought of me. I used to worry what people think, and now I don't care. If it means me capturing an idea that could potentially be a good song in the future, I don't care. So I don't. So creating the space, set your time aside, be uninterruptible. Cannot tell you enough how important that is, to be uninterruptible. You got to create that headspace for the flow to happen, for the actual work and the crafting to happen. If it's not working, you could be like in your head. Sometimes you try too hard. So like I'm going to try to move this pen to the other hand. Trying, there is no trying. You either do it or you don't. So when you're trying to do something and it's not happening, put the pen down. Step away. step away. Sometimes creating the headspace is walking away. It's going to sit in the garden. It's going to your beach walk. It's having your bath. It's having a cup of coffee. It's stepping away. Sometimes that is creating space. It's just getting out of that. Remember, when you're in that space of trying, you're in that 10% of your conscious brain, the overthinking, the analysing, the logic. That is not where creativity lies. Creativity lies in the other, the subconscious, the 90% part. Don't speak for a day. That's Saskia saying that really helps with writer's block. Yeah, it really, really does. Really. This is quite controversial. Yeah, letting it come naturally, Courtney, absolutely. This is quite controversial, but I don't know if I believe in writer's block. I think there's contrast. I don't think there's a constant flow of ideas. I think creativity is like the seasons. I really do believe this. And you don't even have to agree with me, and I just think if we think there's such a thing as writer's block, we will get it. Or if we can be okay that there's no ideas coming today, that's all right. When the ideas are not coming, go to your voice memos. That's what your voice memos are for. You're capturing all those wee snippets of inspiration. Because remember, that inspiration comes when you're not trying. So the voice notes is capturing all those wee snippets. I don't think I will ever worry about not having ideas, because I have 4 phones filled with ideas. And I know that there's an abundance of ideas. I think if you think, I'm very into the law of attraction, and I think if you think there's abundance, there will be abundance. But if you think there's nothing, there will be nothing. Because again, it's all the overthinking. So, and if there is a space where it becomes that you're not getting ideas, and think of that as the seasons. Think of that as your winter and summer. So I'm not getting ideas at the minute. Waves of the ocean also help me. It's waves. I'm in the down at the minute, but the up is coming. If you're in the down and you're like, oh my God, I'm in the down, I'm panicking, I've got writer's block, oh my God, what am I going to do? I've got writer's block. That's creating more of the same. So again, I was saying earlier, Juanita, you were sharing as well that you're very, very intuitive. I think if we can be intuitive, we can trust ourselves, we can trust in the abundance of ideas, we will never run out. Never. And if there is a period where it's harvest, the harvest is another good way of looking at it. You don't always reap. You have to sow first, you have to plant the seeds, you have to tend to it, whatever. So I think if we can look at creativity that way, then we don't panic that there's no flowers today. You know, they're coming. You've done the work, and when they're not there, it's like, well, what do I have to do to fill up my tank? What do I have to do to create the headspace, you know? Let me see some of these, yeah. Saskia said my brain gets stuck or too full. Yeah, totally. We're all exactly the same. You like that way of thinking, Saskia? Thank you. I'm glad that resonates with you. I know it can be quite hippie, and some, especially like musicians who are very theory based, are like, oh, that's all bullshit. But no, I truly, it works for me. So Gornia saying she loves that. Great. Juanita saying you mentioned not speaking. As a meditator, I've practiced various periods of silence days as very deep listening, and yeah, loads comes through when you stop speaking. As I said, you can see that I'm a talker. I am a talker. And I know I'm being hired to lead this workshop, and obviously if I wasn't talking, there would be an issue, but I'm very naturally a talker. I had really, really severe vocal damage 2 years ago, and I was told I would never sing again. The damage was so bad, I would never sing again. I had just been to America and recorded my second album, spent my life savings. Literally, it was going to be 40 that year, and I was like, play big or go home. Went to the same studio that Aretha Franklin recorded in, Etta James, the Rolling Stones, Percy Sledge, I'm a soul singer, so all the soul greats recorded in this studio, Muscle Shoals. Spent my life savings, put myself under massive financial strain. As a single parent, part of me looks back and think, why did I do that? Then I was told I had really bad vocal damage, couldn't sing. I literally didn't speak for 3 months. I couldn't speak any more than above a whisper. So it was quite horrific, but in that silence, I create it more, because when you're talking all the time, you're not listening, you know? And I do believe that when we create, again, the subconscious mind, creating the space, I believe, again, very hippie, I believe it's all there and we channel the ideas. So if you believe that there's an abundance of ideas and they're all there, like I say there as in I visualize that it's up in the ether, in the universe. All I have to do is create the space with my mind to be free and channel that idea. So not speaking for a day is a brilliant thing. Filling your creative tank, so go on artist dates, listen to music that inspires you, go to museums, read books, poetry, anything that inspires you. Meditate, beach, where's your happy place? Have a list of your happy places. It really makes such a difference. I'm trying to keep up with the comments too. Guys, yous are class. I'm really loving this. Serena's saying she's struggling to shift her mindset, feels stressed. Husband is working from home. I can always hear him talk and can't relax. I know I need to just accept it and find other ways. No, please don't apologise. I cannot imagine how difficult that must be for people this year. As I was saying, like, this is the most difficult year for everyone, on every aspect of life, of living. So I don't know about you, but a lot of creatives are really struggling to write this year because, again, it's creating the headspace. So I would ask you, Serene, where can you find that headspace? Where can you find it? It could be in a little corner of your bedroom. You might need to set up your own wee like chair and like almost like a serene space. I don't know if you're into like meditation, but I have a wee space where I have my chair and a wee table where I can set my coffee, and it could be just taking yourself out for half an hour a day. Just go for a walk on your own. You know, do something for you every day. It's so important for our mental health, never mind our creativity. It's so important to find that headspace and just be with ourselves. Julia is saying, don't panic if there are no flowers, they will come. You love that. Yes, I love that too. I think we put so much pressure on ourselves to be on all the time. It's not possible. It is not possible. Experiencing self-doubt and imposter syndrome because I haven't been able to provide great tips. Listen, I think if we can go easy on ourselves and understand that it's waves or seasons, whichever way you want, it takes the pressure off. And anything that removes the pressure gets you out of your head. Remember, if you're trying or you're feeling under pressure, step away. And think of that analogy of the gardener. So if you were a gardener and you're looking at your flowers going, there's no flowers today. Like, seriously, no bloody flowers today. Like, isn't it insane? Like, we would never do that. So what does that gardener need to do? They need to tend to their flowers. They need to water them. They need to nurture them. They need to care for them. How do you do that for yourself? For the flowers to come. So we nurture ourselves. We take ourselves on our artist dates. We have a period of silence. We meditate. We go to the beach. We go to the park. Whatever fills your tank. And I don't know about you, but I just love all that. Saskia saying sorry to hear. Congrats for getting things back. When you lose one thing, you gain another. Absolutely, Saskia. And a lot of people saying sorry to hear that. Yeah. It was very challenging. It was a very challenging period, but I'm very spiritual, and I know that part of me, the vocal damage, was my body giving me a rest. I'd went through a really difficult period around about then, and my father had just died, and I suppose there was something really healing in taking all that care back onto me, and it really made me slow down and reassess. And so actually, I didn't believe them when they said you wouldn't sing again. I was like, nope, sorry, that's not an option. Stubbornness comes in handy, doesn't it? Stubbornness comes in handy. I was just like, nope, don't believe you. I will make it work. And I did a lot of inner work I did all the therapy, the vocal therapy and all the stuff, but I did a lot of inner work. I did a lot of emotional healing and holistic therapies and every type of therapy I could get, to be honest, because I am a big believer that a lot of things are mental or emotional. So the vocal damage will always be there. You can hear like a huskiness, and it'll always kind of be there, and I'll always have to manage it, but I can push through it. It's changed the way that I sing, and I can't sing it as much, but I can still sing, and I'll make it work for me, you know. Elizabeth Gilbert talks about, Serene's saying Elizabeth Gilbert talks about ideas floating around in the ether. Yeah, so if you can imagine that, if you believe that, even if you don't believe it, try it. You've nothing to lose. If you imagine that there's millions of ideas floating about in the ether, doesn't that take the pressure off you trying to create an idea? I think it takes the pressure off us trying to be amazing. It's like, it's there. All I have to do is tune in. It's like setting your radio frequency to tune into that idea. So how do you set your radio frequency? You create the headspace. You do whatever you have to do to get into that chill thing. So yeah, I truly believe that. And I used to try so hard to write songs. I used to try. And then when I stopped trying and I started understanding all of this like spirituality and creativity, it just comes so naturally now. Serene's saying the irony being my name is Serene and I'm trying to achieve serenity. I love that. I love that. Courtney's sending sunflowers. Courtney, are you watering your sunflowers? Positivity. Yep, Sylvia, positive mental attitude is everything. Absolutely everything. Walk into the ideas. That's a really good concept, Juanita. They're there and you're just walking into it or stepping into it. Yeah, I love that. So, number 2, study your favourite songs. I've already looked at, with the chord progression that I showed you and all of those other songs, that is already like a wee hint into that. But something that I cannot emphasize enough is popular songs are popular for a reason. So I don't care whether you're not into pop music or, you know, whatever, you can learn things from that can help your writing. So there's different genres, there's different styles. Every artist wants to create from their own creativity, but it doesn't matter how creative your song is. There's certain structures that people are used to listening to. There's certain rules there's like rules of the game. If your song doesn't fit within certain parameters, it won't get played on the radio. People won't be able to connect to it. People won't be interested in it. So there has to be certain elements in your song so you have the idea, you want the spark of the idea, you want your originality, you want your creativity. Everything's about telling your story. Like a lot of the song is about your story and your melody. So the story of the lyrics and your melody. But how do you tell that in a way that people can relate? So if you can learn song structures, learn how songs work, you're more likely to be able to package that idea in a way that people can relate to. So the likes of that song structure we were going over there before, psychology-wise, it's so smart. You hear that progression. You hear that. You have heard that a million times. So you already like it. Do you know what I mean? So study the songs that other people have written. And then, you know, even if you're like a very, very basic starting out songwriter, if you're only starting and you don't have any like musical ability, download a backing track even from YouTube. So you could get a backing track. So say that, so you're beautiful, you're beautiful. You can download that backing track and just rewrite the sections, like copy out, and I've probably picked the worst song to use because I'm not a big James Blunt fan, but Let It Be, let's go with that. Let it be, let it be, let it be, let it be. Speaking words of wisdom, let it be. There's a bit of deviation from that. So you can use that. So if you're studying, for example, if you're a very, very basic beginner songwriter, pick a song that you like. So I'm going to use Let It Be as an example. Pick Let It Be. Download the lyrics, copy the lyrics out. Look at how long a verse is. Look at how long a chorus is. What sections make up that song? Is there a pre-chorus? Is there a bridge? Is there a middle eight? How long's the intro? How long's the outro? Look at the contrast. Contrast, I want you to write down contrast. Contrast is one of the biggest things that I find I had to learn myself as a writer. And also, I hear it a lot with other people. A lot of people will come to me for songwriting coaching, and contrast is the big thing that I find is missing quite often. And I know I used to, whenever I was in my teens and my 20s, I was trying so hard to write songs, trying, but every song sounded the same. And there was and if any of you are in that trap, it's very difficult to get out of that. And that's okay, because we all have to start somewhere, we all have to learn. But all the songs sounded the same, or the whole song sounded the same. It's there was no change. So if you think of a song as a sound wave, this is the start and this is the end, and your sound wave. If I just talk like this the whole way along and you'd be very bored listening to me, and it's like this drone, and oh my god, it's so bloody boring, how could you listen to 2 hours of this? Do you know what I mean? People's attention spans are so short, they're getting shorter. Introductions to songs they used to say try to keep it under 10 seconds. Now they're saying keep it under 5 seconds. And the rules keep changing because people's attention spans are so short. You think of it now, you used to have to sit and listen to the radio. You used to have to listen to CDs and whatever. Now everything's online and Spotify. No, don't like it. Next. You have 10 to 20 seconds max to catch their attention. So you do. And then you're lucky if they listen to a minute of your song and then they're on to something else, because attention spans are getting so short. So as songwriters, we're up against that too. But if you think of your sound line, you need contrast in there. Contrast, ups and downs, in dynamics, in pitch, in rhythm, in sections. If people are listening, nothing changes, they're bored. If they're listening for 20 seconds and then, then your ears drag back. Then there's another change, your ears drag back again. So I always think of songs as a minimum 3 sections, and there has to be contrast. So for the likes of, I'm going off on a tangent again. So learn from your favourite songs. Print out 5 of your favourite songs of all time. That'll be different for each person because your genres and inspirations are different. So print out the songs. Look at how those songs are structured. So the initial idea, the initial spark of idea is something that we really, really need to get your original concept, your original inspiration. But then to get that from the inspiration to something that is sellable. If you're an artist, you want that to get on the radio. If you're a writer that you want somebody else to sing or somebody else to buy or a publisher to use, it has to be sellable in some way. In whatever genre you're in, know your genre, know what sells. So print out those lyrics. Copy, how does the rhythm of the melody work? How many lines are in a verse? How long is a pre-chorus? What is a pre-chorus? How does it change? Contrast is the main thing. So if you think of songs like Lean On Me, do you know that Bill Withers song, Lean On Me? So it's sometimes simplicity is everything as well. Sometimes in our lives, so simple. One note to start with, a long extended note to start with. We all have pain, we all have sorrow. So it goes from that nice, the rhythm, the story, whatever. Lean on me when you're not strong. It goes up the octave into the chorus. The rhythm of the chorus changes, so it's the the word, the length of the lines are like, there's more happening in a sentence basically. So sometimes in our lives, lean on me when you're not strong. Do you see that? There's more happening in the sentences, and it's went up a pitch. So that's the contrast. I need to see some of these notes. How do I go back on the comments? I don't know how to go back. Oh, sorry. The narrative to finish a song. Oh God, I've lost a couple of the comments there. Alexandra, I need to work on changing up the verse and chorus, more contrast. Yeah, all of the songs I do have sound different. I tend to write with vibe in mind. That's a really good place to start. Vibe is everything, because it does not matter how good a song is, technically, structurally, whatever. If somebody doesn't feel something, they don't care. It doesn't. So it's about how it feels all the time. It's about how it connects. So vibe is everything, Alexandra. Tend to write with vibe. Imagine what mood or activity would I be doing if I was listening to this. Brilliant way of writing. Absolutely brilliant. So you could be writing your verse and thinking, what story am I trying to tell here? So the story will always have your start, your middle, and your end. Your verses tell your story. Your chorus is your punchline. Your chorus is your repeated melodic modality hook. So your chorus is going to be, so when you're in your verse, it's like, how do I want my chorus to feel? That will help you determine the rhythm of it, the pitching of it, the spacing. Saskia saying line length is so important. I realise the length of a line dictates if the song carries on or ends. Yeah, so it's like, if your verses are very wordy, then, and there's lots of things happening in the lines, then open that up into your pre-chorus. Open that up into your verse or into your chorus. Choruses generally have a lift. You think of 99% of songs, it lifts into the chorus, because the chorus is the bit where everybody's like singing along, having a crack. I know I'm generalising with poppy kind of things there, but it's a good way of explaining it. So the chorus generally lifts up into that. And yeah, just think contrast. There has to be repetition with the chorus and the melody and all, but as long as there's contrast between your certain sections, contrast in rhythm, contrast in line length, in placement, in melody, in chord, even the chord frequency, change up how much you use the chords. If you're using 4 chords or a chord per bar, I use a chord every 2-3 bars, whatever. Again, that's where my technology side comes in there. A lot of that I don't really know how to explain it. It's just like, no, just space the chords out a bit. Great book. Sylvia's saying a great book she's been reading is Songwriting the Guitar, Complete Guide. Jeffrey Pepper Rogers includes tips. Paul Simon, yeah, that would be amazing. Tips from Paul Simon, Joni Mitchell and Don McLean would be very good. Some of the best songwriters ever. I've seen Dolly Parton's book, songwriting book, advertised there. I really want to get that book because Dolly's a genius. Courtney's saying your voice. Oh, thank you. she's complimenting my voice. Thank you. I'm really like nasally today. Do you know when you're like got a bit of a cold? Juanita's saying at Serene. Sylvia, I have a song coming out in the Oh Yeah Music Collective, is it? I wrote the first part in 2015, forgot about it, and it came back to it in 2018. It ended up in the album. I love that. Sometimes it takes time. Yes, absolutely. Sometimes it does take time. I've often, forgot about songs too, and you go back to it in a different headspace, and then songwriting's about craft, and like Bob Dylan talks about this a lot. He talks about learning your craft. So once you have your initial idea gathered there, learning your song structure, learning how these things work, then does it connect? How does it feel? How is somebody going to be able to relate to that when they listen to it? Both feel-wise and story-wise. Does the story make sense? Keep working it and reworking it and reworking it. And it's just like, is it the best that it can be? It is. So there's the initial idea, but then the crafting stage comes in knowing how songs work. Changing the frequency is playing the C note up or down an octave or an note. Yeah, that's a really good way of looking at things. So it is. Can't decide on music. I don't know your name, sorry. Let me know your name. Changing the frequency. Yeah, so like the likes of, let's go this chord progression again. There are hundreds of things that you can fit over that, like hundreds. I played, what, 10 songs? No, not even 10 songs over it. So changing the frequency could be just halving it, just changing how quickly the changes are. So that's one way of changing the frequency. And you can hang that for as long as you need to link a section. You're beautiful. Keep going back to James Blunt. Beautiful. You're beautiful, that's true. I could sing 10 things over this now. Somebody give me some lyric ideas there. So, give me some lyric ideas as I'm sitting in my kitchen with you. Yeah, sitting in my kitchen. So it's like, we overthink it. It's so easy. We're just fitting melodies over things. And let me slow it down and see what we can come up with. Holding back from what I feel is life. Nobody needs to know when the end's inside. Idea. So I literally took those chords, changed the rhythm of them, like as in played them double, like half time instead of like, so how long I was still holding the chords. So I held the chords longer. Yeah, this is where my technical ability is rubbish. I held the chords longer, and then I changed the pitch. So it's like, as long as you can think in sections like that, but do download your favorite songs, print out the lyrics, download or like listen to the YouTube thing, rewrite them if you want. How I started songwriting was rewriting my favorite songs. That Let It Be, I think the first song I ever wrote, it's actually quite cheesy. Back in like, whenever I was in like primary school, there was a guy called Brian Keenan who was like a hostage in somewhere, and it's like one of those like old stories. And I remember writing this whole song, going, Brian Keenan, set him free, set him free, set him free, which is really cheesy looking back, but I was about 8, and it was like, that's how I started learning how to write. And like, I sang in cover bands for years, and I think singing in cover bands, again, the subconscious mind, singing in cover bands, the subconscious mind, I've been listening, singing hit songs over and over and over again. So you start to realize, like subconsciously, how long sections are, how you lift into choruses, how you change things up. So yeah, subconsciously we all know this. We all know our favorite songs. We all know how it works. But sometimes it just takes taking it, looking at it, studying it. Can't tell you how much that can help you learn your craft, and learn, you'll start to see all those patterns, the contrast, the repetitive sections, all of that. Alexandra said, for people that don't play instruments, how would you go about that method? I tend to create lyrics and melody at the same time, and when it comes to chorus time to chords to it, it can be quite difficult. Okay, to put chords to it, I think that's what you mean, Alexandra. Yeah, that's my challenge, to be honest. I would be very much lyric and melody would be my main strength. So I think knowing your strengths and weaknesses really helps as well. So if the chords, the music is difficult for you, I would definitely recommend co-writing. So yeah, Juanita's saying that's the same for her. She works with other musicians. Yeah, sometimes it's just knowing what your skill set is. The likes of like Elton John, he had a co-writer. Like some of the best writers in the world. Beyonce, you look at Beyonce songs, there's like 8 writers on it. We don't have to do things on our own. And sometimes it's just writing with other people for a while to learn, to feed off each other. Like you could have an idea. Like I love co-writing. I absolutely love it. You feed off each other, like creative people. Like you plant a seed and somebody goes, yeah, and you know. So I would definitely say, oh, I'm losing the comments again. Sometimes there's too many comes in at the time. I would definitely say reach out to somebody who has really good musical ability. And I am going to teach you. Do you play guitar, Alexandra? It sounds like you're saying when you go to put the chords to it. I have another trick for you coming up now. Do you want a break? Do you want a quick break? Or will we keep going? What do you think? What do you think? Let me know in the comments whether you want a quick break, because I'm going to answer Alexandria's question now. Alexandra said, I'm a very beginner trying to learn. So you're trying to learn guitar. Do you know something? Let's have a really quick break. Let's take like a few minutes, comfort break. We'll grab a coffee or something and I'll meet you back. How does that sound? Everybody cool? So it's 3 minutes past. So like what? Just give it a few minutes, yeah? Charlene, is that good? Yeah? Yeah. Loads of thumbs up. Love it. Brilliant. See you back here in a few minutes, folks. I'm going to go grab a coffee.
Amanda, your mic's still live. We can hear you.
Okay.
Just letting you know.
Thank you. Hey.
Sorry, I'm sat with my camera off. I have been like trying to shower with a broken leg and get my toddler out the door for to go and see his grandparents, and so I've kind of been listening to you in the shower, and I've had you on location all around the house this morning.
Oh, that's class.
Yeah,
Hello.
great workshop, thank you.
Oh, are you enjoying it, Roisin?
Yeah, really interesting. And actually, I love the stuff you were saying about, you know, the spiritual connection to creativity. It reminds me of one of my favorite TED Talks. And I didn't catch if anybody mentioned it or not yet, but it's by a lady called Elizabeth Gilbert.
Oh, yeah. So we were talking about her book. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I love her. I absolutely love her.
Yeah, brilliant.
She's incredible. So she is.
You're incredible yourself now. I've been a fan of your work.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
That's lovely.
Yeah.
It's like music is so subjective. It's like, you know, you do your thing and you just hope that somebody else connects, but not everybody will. So you know, whenever somebody does get it, it's nice. So thank you.
Yeah. And like it's like that with a whole bunch of things as well. It's not just music, I think.
Oh yeah, anything.
Yeah, exactly. So any kind of work that you do person to person, and you were saying you do coaching as well, which is really interesting because it's all about that connection, isn't it? It's just like that's the art form.
Totally.
The rest of it is really the frills, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. And I suppose I just think, you know, we're just so hard on ourselves, aren't we? It's like,
oh yeah, you'd never put anybody else through what you put yourself through.
No, absolutely not. So a lot of like I say I do a lot of like coaching and like mind coaching and stuff, and it's all linked to everything. It's everything in life, business, writing, everything, family, everything. In the comments, is everybody back? Can you let me know if you're back? Yeah. Not everybody yet. We'll wait a wee second. Hello. I'm concerned that I'm doing too much talking and not enough like practical stuff. Is it coming across okay? Yeah. Yay!
I couldn't have done anything other than listen earlier, so that's totally fine.
All right, thank you so much. All really helpful. Oh, that's good. I've got 3 pages of notes. Oh, I love that. I love that. Sometimes you think, like, as I was saying at the start of this workshop, it's like, I'm not an expert. Like, what do I know? Do you know, I'm not like Joni Mitchell or something, like what I know. But I think sometimes we underestimate, every one of us underestimates that we have something of value that other people can learn, you know? So yeah, everybody's back, so let's go. I think it was Alexander was asking, if you're not a musician, how do you do this? Like, you're just starting off playing guitar. If you're not a musician, you don't need to be able to play guitar to write songs, or piano, or any instrument. You do not need to be able to play it well to write songs. But you do need to be able to communicate that song in some way. There's a writer, is it Dionne Warren or something? There's a writer that writes like all of these hit pop songs. She's written like some of the biggest songs in the world. She can't play an instrument. She sits at the piano and she knows like something like 8 chords on the piano. And when I say chords, it's like holds the chord. She doesn't like play with any rhythm. So she would just sit and go, I'm singing my song to you and this is how it goes, but I don't really know music very well, but I can show you. Do you know, she literally just marks chords like that. So you don't have to be the best musician in the world. Sometimes that space, creating the space, is where the magic is. It's like you can focus more on the melody, because it's the melody that is going to sell. The melody and the story of the song is going to sell it more than anything. And then like a strong song is a strong melody, and then the artist, the songwriter, the publisher, whatever, takes that and produces it whatever way they want. But what I would love is for people just to concentrate on getting the melody the best it could be without the production. Somebody saying use backing tracks. Yep. Samples. Start learning basic piano. Yeah. Learn like 6 chords on piano or guitar. It is easier than you think. You do not have to be amazing at it. All you have to do is hold a chord. Use backing tracks. Remember I was saying to you earlier, and somebody said they use backing tracks. Use backing tracks as in, if you know that there's 100 songs that are based along those same lines as One of Us or Don't Stop Believing or You're Beautiful, find an acoustic version of one of those and create your own song out of it. And then you can bring that to somebody else who can then adapt a wee bit. Work with other musicians. Do not try to do everything on your own. I tried that for years, and it wasn't until I started co-writing that I really found my flow as a writer. I thought I wasn't a very good writer. I thought because I wasn't a good musician, I couldn't write. And then I went into rooms with people. I remember, like, I got this really incredible opportunity of writing in Nashville about 8 years ago or something. And I had only started putting myself out there as a songwriter. And I was standing in this studio and the guy was talking about his buddy Wilson and his buddy BB. It was like BB King. He won a Grammy for like Wilson Pickett and BB King. And I was like, oh my God, how can I write with this guy? And then I had to just go into my own trust and my own instinct going, it doesn't matter who this person is. Like, he toured with the Rolling Stones and all this stuff. And I'm like, how did I even get here? I'm like from this one street village in Glenariff. Like, how did I get here? But I terrified myself, and then I had to go into the trusting of, look, this is what I do. Let's just do it to the best of my ability. And within half an hour, he was like, damn, you can write. I didn't think I was a good writer because I wasn't a good musician, but I can write top lines. I can write hooks. I can write melodies. I can write a lyric in 5 minutes. I've been writing poems for as far back as I can remember. I'm very lyrics based. Know what your strengths are and find people then that can build on that. Back and I'm just saying all these other things. I have a keyboard, we'll play around and work out. Yeah, that's all you need to do is have the basic chords down there, or go and write with somebody. Find a guitar player. You know, there's so many guitar players who can't write lyrics, who can't write melodies. Find the people. They, like, creative people love working with other creative people. It brings things alive. Do you know, it's like planting a seed and then other people get involved and then it all becomes something bigger. So yeah, Rosie, let's get a group for Nashville. Like, wouldn't that be class? They do writing camps in LA and Nashville, yeah, they sure do. So let me see. So number one, create the space. I think we've went through that in a lot. Number two, study your favourite songs. Yes, I'm gonna skip the free writing for now and go back to that, because I think this one will help you in this as well. So this is something that guitar players and anybody who's like really technical would like be, oh my God, no, like their egos would not allow you to even let you know that this exists. But I'm not a guitar player. I'm not a good music person. So this helps me so much. Have you heard of the Nashville number system? Have you heard of that before? So the Nashville number system was designed in Nashville, funny enough, for studio musicians. So basically, rather than them learning, like, you know, it just helps. So remember I was saying there's only like 12 notes in music, like music is all the same. So it helps them communicate keys and chords and charts and stuff. And then if somebody was going to change the key of a song, maybe the singer had written the song in C, then they were like, no, it's too low, I need to move the key. They could communicate the chords of the song. So earlier, that chord progression, now I can send you this slide afterwards. Charlene, can you let me know if that's okay, if I can send these slides? We could probably just email the slides to everybody, so you don't have to worry about taking this down or anything. So earlier, that progression was in the key of G. So if you go down the left hand side, so the left hand sides are all the keys. C, D, E, F, G, A are the keys in this one. And then along the top it tells you that the first chord in that scale of C is a major. So 1 is a major, 2 is a minor, 3 is a minor, 4, 5, 6. It gives you the chords that exist in the key of C. The key of D, it gives you the first, second, third, fourth. They are the chords that are in that key. So if you look at the likes of that song I was doing earlier, in the key of G, it was 1, The next one is D, which is the 5. The next one is E minor, which is the 6. And the next chord is the C, which is the 4. So that is the structure. You can use that structure, that 1, 5, 6, 4. But you can use any structure in a song. So I could say to you now, give me 3 numbers between 1 and 6. I'm going to avoid the 7th because I'm a rubbish guitar player and I don't know all those wee diminished things. So the wee circle means diminished, I think. Don't even know. So between 1 and 6, who wants to give me 3 or 4 numbers between 1 and 6? 3. Okay, 3. 2, 3, 5, 6. Okay, Saskia, we're using that. So let's go back to our Nashville number system. 2, 3, 5, 6. Let's do this. Let's have fun with this. Come on. So 2, let's pick the key. So what key are we going to go in? So 2, I'm going to pick one with an easy 2. So E minor, we're going to start in the key of D. So if you look at the key of D, the 2 is E minor. The 3 is F sharp minor. The 5 is A. And the 6 is B minor. So 2, 3, 5, 6. Yeah, so this is how that sounds. I'm playing the major instead of the minor. We can play that in any rhythm and any sequence, or like as in we can do it in any style. So if you wanted to be ballady, so it could be. Doesn't sound very good, doesn't it, when I play that bar chord? So basically you can have that as, we could go through this now and go, right, does that sound like a verse or a chorus? Does it sound like a verse or a chorus? I think it sounds like a verse, doesn't it? Yeah, I think it sounds like a verse. So we'll play it with that plucking. Okay, is this one? I'm just going to sing something over the top of it just so that we can like demonstrate. I know what life brings, all alone and all I feel. So literally choosing those numbers gives you a place to start, gives you an inspiration. So if you're stuck, if you're really, really stuck, part of this workshop is like tips for whenever you're stuck. You can use this to start your song. You can use this, literally pick a key. Let's pick the key. So we just picked the key of D and we picked the 2, 3, 5, 6. We could write our whole verse in that 2, 3, 5, 6 in the key of D. Then we need contrast. We need to change it up a wee bit. You can look at the chords that you've already used and change them about. Sometimes people just change the order of them. They might go, right, I'm going to start in the 5 now for the pre-chorus. You can choose any of those chords to use in that key and it will fit your song. So it takes a lot of the thinking out of it. It takes a lot of the, oh, where's this going to go? Where can I go with this? How can I change this? How can I put contrast in? You know, if you're writing in the key of D, that the D, the E minor, the F sharp minor, the G, the A, the B minor, they are going to fit in that chord, in that song. So sometimes I will start with that if I don't have any ideas at all. Let's just pick G, go into the key of C. So let's go into C. So let's go 1, 3, 5, 4. 1, 3, 5, 4. 1, 3, 5, 4. So the 1 is the C, the 3 is the E minor. I have to write this down. The 5 is the G, and the 4 is the F. So I'm just trying to think where you can go with that. So 1, 3, 5, 4, and then you think, right, I'm going to change the chords up for the next section, and then you maybe start with the 6 or something. No, it doesn't really matter what it is. Do, 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 do. And then do, do, do. So you could have your whole verse around the C, the 1, 3, 5, 4. Then you could start in the 5 for the chorus, because you know the 5 fits in the thing. So the G sounds nice going lifting up into the G, doesn't it? So trying to see how this. Yeah, you could just do the 5, the 3, and the 4 then again. So if you are really, really stuck with a section, does everybody understand what I'm doing there? Does that make sense? Does it? Yeah, this is great. This is utterly clueless. C cannot play chords. See how it works. That's okay. Is what 7's here? Yeah, the 7th is the diminished. It's like a weird kind of thing. It's a variation of the main chord, Russian 7. But yeah, it's an awkward way. So I generally stick to the 1 to the 6 if you're not like a really good player. So what you can do is you can say to me, right, I'm going to write a song and I'm going to use 1, 3, 5, 6 in the verse, and then I'm going to use 5, 4, 6 in the chorus, and you just see how that sounds, and then you tweak it. You're like, no, I don't know if that's going to work, I don't know if that's going to work. But see, once you understand how that Nashville number system works, it is unbelievable. If the key is too low, you just change it. So if you've decided in your 1, 3, 5, 6, let me see, where's my share screen again? So imagine you are in the 1, 3, 5, 6 in C, but it's too low for your voice, and you think, no, I need to make that higher. You just go to the 1, 3, 5, 6 in the D, and it's the same progression, it's just up the tone. Do you hear how that's the same progression? So 1, 3, 5, 6. Too low for me. 1, 3, 5, 6. See how that works? So it means that you don't really have to worry as much, or you can just chuck a capo on it if you really want to, rather than having to relearn the chords. So it really helps. You could have a really strong chorus, really strong verse or really strong chorus. So yes, it's the same as putting the capo on, but you don't really have to work it all out, serene. So it's just a really way of learning it. We need wants to learn to play chords. Yay! Do it. It's so easy. Like, you don't have to be. It's easy to learn how to play them, but being good at it takes a bit more work. But it's easy to learn how to play it as far as helping you writing. That's the only reason I started to learn guitar, was so that I had more freedom around writing. And I say, I'll never be a great guitar player. Like, look at me trying to do that, like F sharp. I don't even know which is the major and which is the minor, and I'm trying to use my ears to find out which it is. Work to your strengths. You don't have to be brilliant at everything. I used to run workshops on this, where we would be like literally writing a song from scratch with the lyrics, and then be like, right, throw me out 3 numbers between a 1 and 6 or whatever. And then, so we start to build the song that way, but that's where your crafting comes in. That you're like, no, I'm not sure if that 1, 3, 5, 6 works. I think I like the 1, 5, 6, 4 better. That's where you start to use your intuition, you use your ears, but this is a good place to start. It's also a really good place if you're stuck. You could have written a really good verse and a chorus and you're struggling to get your middle eight or your bridge. You want a change. You want something like that really, really throws in a change. I know one of my own songs I was doing, it is in the key of, is it E? So the chord, so yeah, it's in, the verse is in B. So let's go to the chord chart here till we see. So the verse is in, it's in B. So it's in E, sorry, the key is in E. So if you look at your E there, so the whole, so I built my dreams with you in mind. So it's E, B, C minor, A and E into the verse. So that's the E is the 1, the B is the 5, the C sharp minor is the 6, then we have the 4 and the 1 again. Then it goes into the pre-chorus. I can use any chords in that key of E to go into the pre-chorus. I wanted it contrast, so I started it on the 2 this time. So will I sing it for you? So it's, wait. I built my dreams with you in mind. C sharp minor. Put my plan into motion. That's the A. Then we go to the E. Put my plan into motion. That section's repeat it for the rest of the verse. Then the pre-chorus, I wanted something different. And now, different chord, different pitching. So it's going up to change it. Remember, we want the sound wave to go up and down. It then goes to the F sharp major, which is the 2nd. Now it's time for me to start again. Up to the C sharp minor, which is the 6th. Break it down piece by piece, back to the F sharp, and build my life again. So it's all, every single section is in a different chord of that scale, if that makes sense. So the verse is in E, then the pre-chorus starts in the F sharp minor, the chorus starts in the C sharp minor. That's not it. That's it. The chorus starts in the C sharp minor, and then there's like a way. So I'll sing the chorus into the bridge because it's a really nice change. And all I did was like, right, well, what chords fit within that scale? And you just keep working it and keep working it. So I'm not sure if I'm explaining that right. Does that make sense? Yeah, you've definitely got that. Good. So as I say, like, I write with a lot of really, really good guitar players. And if I brought out the Nashville number system to these really, really, really good guitar players, they'd be like, yeah, right. Like, they understand it also instinctively that they don't need to look at a chart, but I'm not good enough on guitar. I need to look at a chart. So there's times where, as I say, I am stuck. I've got a really good verse and a chorus, and I'm like, right, I want to find a contrast into the middle 8 or whatever. So use this, it really, really works. And as I say, just mess about with the different chords of the scale and see which ones work. And if it's too low for you, either stick a capo on it or change it up a wee bit, or too high or whatever. So I hope that has helped you, because it's something that's really, really helped me over the years. It's just frees you up a wee bit. Like, I get so stuck sometimes on trying to get the guitar playing right that's where I go into my overthinking and doubting. As soon as I go into my overthinking and doubting mind, my creativity is totally blocked. So this is a tool that I use to free me up from trying to work it out and going, right, well, I know if I'm writing this in the key of E, there's the chords that fit within that scale, let's just work with those. And you just throw something in. If it sounds good, great. If it doesn't, adapt, craft, change. You know, it is a safety net. You're right. It's a really, really, it's about taking the thinking, anything that can take the thinking out of it and that can keep your creative flow open. I am all for that. So another wee tip, we're going to lyrics here now. So every writer is different. Some people start with lyrics, some people start with the guitar or the music, some people start with the melody. Like, every writer is different in what their skill set is. But the story or the lyric of the song is going to be like so important, because that's what most people connect with, isn't it? It's you want the feel to be right, but then the story will dictate the feel. So your every song is a story, and whether it's an obvious story song, like there's some songs like The Gambler or something that's a story from start to finish. A lot of rap songs are like that, like Eminem and all's brilliant for like a story, and a story song is a really good way of keeping people's attention, because they're going to wait to hear what happens. They're like, oh, I want to hear what happens at the end. Whereas a lot of pop songs have like so many like repeated sections and stuff, and it's not as obviously. I keep fixing this thing. It's when I'm bending down, it's a bit indecent. What was I saying there? I read the comment and then I got distracted. So what was I saying? Oh yes, stories. So songs are stories. So whenever you are creating your lyrics for your song, you want to think of it as a start, a middle, and an end. So what are you trying to say for a start? What are you trying to say? Sometimes we don't know what we're trying to say. Sometimes we have a one-line idea in our head. Sometimes it's a feeling that I'm very much, I write from my own personal perspective, and it's very autobiographical, and very often it's a feeling that I'm trying to express. And I'm like, what is this feeling? Or what am I trying to say? So a tip or a trick that comes in really, really handy for me is a thing called free writing. So have you heard of free writing before? Anybody who's done the artist's way will know this. Free writing is literally choosing a topic. So we can do this now. We'll do a wee example of this. So, excuse me. So choose a topic. So let's talk about, what should we talk about, guys? Any ideas? Any ideas on a topic? Friendship, heartbreak, Zoom. Write a song about Zoom. Well, there's a bit of crack for you anyway, Courtney. Alexandra said, I've worked off just one word and then a story came and created around that. Yeah, sometimes you can just work around a word. Like, for example, let's use Zoom as an example. So you can put Zoom in the middle of this. Tile yard have there's a lot of wee examples there on networking events and stuff. Festivals, I know they're not really taking place things, but a lot of you meet a lot of people at music festivals and stuff, like songwriting thing, like these types of events, if they were on in person, are great. So here's a really good way of doing it. So Zoom, shout out things. When I say shout out, type me things that relate to Zoom. So Zoom, what words associate with Zoom? Online, computer. What other words? Mute. Yeah, mute. Connect. Digital. Lockdown, I would say. Meeting. Bad connection. Thanks for your suggestions, folks. Bad connections. Yeah, Wi-Fi. Wi-Fi, faces, technology. I'm just thinking of all the words. So literally you could sit and do like a spidergram for Zoom, trying to get that straight. All of the words that associate with Zoom. Then you start to form sentences around those words. So Zoom, so online. Zoom is a meeting. So where's the meeting? Online. I can see the faces on the computer, and it's a way of connecting. There's your first verse. If we were writing a song about Zoom, I don't know who really wants to hear that, but if we were writing a song about Zoom, it doesn't matter what your subject is. It's all about getting the story. So you can write a song about sausages. You can write a song about like anything. It doesn't really matter what the story is, as long as it makes sense and there's a start, a middle and an end. So what I did there was introduce what Zoom is. So you're introducing it. The first verse is always setting the scene. So that's one tip that you can use. Thanks for that, Alexandra. One tip that you can use. Another thing you could do is pick Zoom. We're just going to run with Zoom now. So, or if you want to pick something with a bit mind-numbing, we can make it a funny song about hiccups. We can. I love your sense of humour, Courtney, yeah, hiccups during a Zoom meeting. Wouldn't that be some crack if I had hiccups today and you have like 2 hour space to hold with the hiccups? Yeah, like, I shouldn't even say that out loud for fear I'd be scudded. So take a wee drink now and think about that. Lockdowns here, we're all starting to fear that we won't see each other's faces. Oh, I like that. Stuck on Zoom calls for the rest of our lives. So that's one way of getting the story to start to form. You see the keywords, then you form the sentences around the keywords. Another thing that really comes in handy is a thing called free writing. So anybody who's done The Artist's Way, there's quite a few of you earlier on the call have done The Artist's Way. The Artist's Way says about doing morning pages, and it's literally a brain dump of all of your thoughts. So you could have 5 different topics. David Bowie used this, so he did. Each other's spaces. All right, everybody's starting to add on to the song here. We could have a Zoom song by the end of this workshop. So David Bowie used the free writing, and he would have a few different topics in mind. So for example, he might have some sentences on Zoom. He would do like a mind map of that, then write down 10 sentences on that one keyword, then pick another wee keyword like heartbreak. So you could do 10 sentences around heartbreak, then you do 10 sentences around friendship, you do 10 sentences around nature, you do 10 sentences around something else. Then you cut it all up, throw it down on the table and start to rearrange it to see if you can make some sort of a story. So this is free writing. There's a couple of, so that you have your like word association and free writing are just ways of triggering ideas. A lot of the time we are literally, if we don't have our dictaphone full of voice memos, if we are trying to find something from scratch, you're trying to create, everything's about creating the space and triggering ideas. So sometimes you have to change it up a wee bit if it's not coming naturally. It's like tools. So what I'm giving you now are another couple of tools. So the Nashville number system is a tool that you can use when you're selecting your chords and your stuff. This is a couple of tools that you can write lyrics wise. So free writing. So yeah, the word association, the free writing. Let's pick a topic now. What topic? What, friendship? Are we good with friendship? Yeah? Friendship, love. There's so many songs on love and heartbreak, but that's because that's what sells. But yeah, let's pick a topic called friendship. And I'm going to give you 10 minutes. We got 10 minutes? I'm laughing at the Zoom song's taking off here. So give yourselves 5 minutes. Has everybody got a pen and paper in front of them? Give yourself 5 minutes. It's 11:40. I'm going to give you 5 minutes to, I don't even think we need 5 minutes, to brain dump everything that you can think of, random sentences. It doesn't have to make sense. When I say the word friendship to you, what does that mean to you? So literally just start to write as fast as you can. Don't think about it too much. As fast as you can, write down as many sentences as you can on that subject. Are you ready? Go, let's do it. This is where we need a wee like elevator music in the background or something, Charlene. So friendships, yeah. So 5 minutes. Write as many sentences as you can. Brain dump, total brain dump. So it doesn't even have to look pretty. Look at my scrawl. I have the worst handwriting. Some people work better on computer. I work better at free writing in hand. Some people like to type. It's whatever sits best with you. And I want you to think of it as, again, with free writing, I should have said this at the start, I want you to think of it as very conversational. I don't want you to think of writing lyrics as in writing a lyric. The best songs sound like you're just telling your best friend a story. So I find a lot of the songwriting workshops I lead, people are trying to think of like really good ways of saying, like a really good lyric. A really good lyric is simple. Do you know, it sounds like you're just telling your friend. So when this brain dump and the free writing, it's just conversational style. Don't try and make it match or sound anything. Just literally dump everything like you were just telling your bestie. So the way I've started mine is, we all need friends in our lives. They give us connection and meaning in life. I couldn't do without my friends. They're the best crack, and there are times when I really need them. They support me when life gets hard. So it's all very conversational. And we have a lot of fun drinking Prosecco. Give it one more minute. Right, has everybody got something down? Yeah? So that was very quick. I've got a full page of handwritten scrawl. So Courtney's saying more and more people have no friends nowadays. It's heartbreaking. There's a trend on YouTube from bloggers sharing their stories of being friendless due to pandemic and social media. Vloggers, yeah. Yeah, I think people are so much, the isolation hasn't helped with the pandemic, but also I think people are so much more house-based that you need to get out of your house, do you know, and connect. Like, to me, friendship is all about connection. Life, to me, is about connection. And it's like the quality of your relationships are what make your life good. And that's what gives you experiences to write about and to, you know, so yeah, you have to get out of your house whenever you can, whenever the world starts to open up a wee bit. Get to even things like this makes you feel connected at one level. I know it's not the same as if we were all in the same room, but there's definitely connections being made. So now that you have your full page, has everybody got a page of stuff, at least 10 sentences yet? See a few thumbs up there, good. Now I want you to go over what you've written and underline the best lines. You think of that and you underline some of those lines that you think might work or that might tell your story the best. So I'm looking through and I'm saying they give us connection and meaning. We all need friends in our lives. I seek these kindred spirits. I like that line. They support me. They support me when life gets hard. I love to meet people with similar mindsets. Bounce ideas off. Yeah, I'm just underlining all the ones that I think might work. So what you can do is use that as a framework to start forming your story. David Bowie would have done that. He would have then taken all those strong sentences, cut them out, laid them on the table. You can do that. See if you did that for like 20 minutes. We did 5 minutes there. Does everybody have loads of sentences there that could start their story? Yeah. So sometimes giving yourself a time limit really helps as well. But it's a really good way of generating ideas when you don't have any ideas. If you've just watched a movie, it doesn't like, your ideas could come from anything. It could be from a book you've just read. It could be from a painting on the wall. It could be a movie or a series that you've just watched. It could be a random word like friendship, love, nature. Use those wee tricks that just to start generating the idea. Courtney's saying, I find it quite hard. Just randomly writing stuff down with it. Yes, randomly writing down stuff without thinking is exactly it. Because we're trying to get out of our thinking brain. It's like free writing. And then can you fill in the blanks then for full sentences? Yeah. So you're literally giving yourself a framework to start with. And then you start to fill in the blanks. Your story starts to form. In you starting something, that's when the ideas, it's all about triggering ideas. In starting something, then we trigger an idea that leads to another thing, that leads to another thing, and then the story starts to form and you fill in the blanks. So the likes of me, you're writing as a conversation, you're just spitting it out and then you start to form it. Courtney said, I keep doubting myself, so hard to switch off with a doubt. Oh, it is horrendous to switch off a doubting mind. That your mind limits you so much. All of those wee limiting beliefs. So that's what I was saying at the start. That 10% of your brain that's like logic. So those doubts and those limiting beliefs are in that 90% part of your brain that are dominating you. So that's something that you could really look at. If that's something that's holding you back in your life, look at it. So yeah, Roisin, very good point, Roisin. Roisin's saying that's what you write about. I keep doubting myself, so hard to switch off a doubting mind. There's a lyric. There's the start of a song. Do you know the guy from Crowded House? What do you call? Is it Crowded House? He was in a songwriting workshop one day. Was it Ryan Adams? Ryan Adams was in a songwriting workshop that I saw online. And the guy from Crowded House was like, oh, I just don't know what to write about. Like, I just get blocked all the time. And Ryan Adams was like, don't know what to write about. I just got blocked all the time. So, Courtney, I keep doubting myself. So hard to switch off a doubting mind. There you go. That's it. I know that was just a wee thrown together chord sequence, but that's what I mean, that's what makes a good song. A good song is something that you would say to your friend. It's not, let me think of a clever song lyric. How can I rhyme this? So you literally just imagine you're having a conversation with your friend. See a song about a doubting mind. Who on the planet can't connect to that? I doubt myself. What am I going to do? How am I going to move forward if I can't switch my brain off? It's like everybody in the world can connect to that, can relate to that. So yeah, there's your song idea for today, Courtney. Run with that. So if we were in person, I would take a lot more time with this section, and we would do it all together, and we'd start to form a song together based on that free writing exercise and the Nashville number system. We would put those two together and we would form our own song, and we would share ideas and stuff. But I am aware that it's coming up to the time, so I don't want to go too much further with this. There's a few wee funny tricks that I was going to just tell you to end with. So number 5 was funny wee tricks. I'll just throw this in quickly and then we'll get our feedback. So Paul Simon, when he was stuck for lyrics, he used to just put in a word, choose a really random word like blue. Do you know the song Graceland? I'm going to Graceland, Graceland, Memphis, Tennessee. Blue, 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 blue. That's how he wrote that song. Blue, 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 blue. And then he was like, how does that blue, 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 blue is the hook of that? I'm going to Graceland. Linked, Graceland fit it. And then he wrote the whole song about going to Graceland. Memphis, Tennessee. But so he had blue, 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 blue. To take, again, get out of your thinking mind. If your thinking mind is blocking you, put in la, blah, 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 blah. Get your rhythm, get your melody. It's a really good wee trick. Borrow from your favourite songs. Yeah, as I was saying earlier, borrow something. If there's a section, if you're writing a song that you've got your verse and your chorus and you're trying to come up with a different chord progression, borrow from one of your favourite songs that's in that key. You know, you're not mimicking them, you're just borrowing, and you're making it your own. Mix your songs. So if you've got a phone full of voice notes, very often I will find a section and then I'm like, oh, I wonder how am I going to write around that, and then I'm listening on down to my voice notes and I'm like, oh, that would work with that. Or go through your voice notes and have a column of ones that sound like strong verses and ones that sound like strong choruses, and then see if you can start matching them up, because you'll find great contrast. If those songs were not conceived in the same idea, that's where you'll find great contrast. Tom Waits, do you know Tom Waits? He used to put on loads of different radios at the same time and then see if he could find any like rhythm or melody. Like, so literally, like he called it 5 radios. He used to put on like, literally 5 radios. We could do it on our computer, on our phone, or TV, or tablet. Put on whatever, like 5 different radio channels, 5 different songs. Just pick 5 different songs and see if you can start to hear any interesting patterns. I thought that was really genius. Change things up is one thing that I use all the time. Changing it up. If you're getting stuck, change the tempo, change the key. If I'm writing in C and I'm getting stuck and I'm bored, stick the capo on. Bring it way, way, way up the fret. Bring it way up, like the 4th or 5th fret. And it'll like, you're nearly bringing it up that octave. It's totally changing things. It's giving you, again, it's about triggering your mind to open up more ideas, to get out of the old pattern. It's all about switching up the old patterns and triggering new ones. I actually could go on for like an hour with wee things like that. Let me see, I want to see these comments. Oh, I've missed that comment at the top. Was that Alexandra? Somebody said they had a really good idea and they're going to fill in the blanks so it makes sense. Let me know who this is because I can't see the name. 15 years since we first started on separate journeys. We've parted, but we've always found our way back. Those drunken nights in karaoke. Oh, it's gone. The thing's gone. That was so good. That was so good. Whoever's idea, whose was that idea? Whose was that idea? 1 day, 1 week, 1 month. Okay. Oh wait, it is Alexandra. Thank you for resending it. Months since we came to touch. I know they'll all be there when we call it. Yeah. So that is such a good framework for you to start your song, Alexandra. Rework it. See if you can put the sentences in different places. What's the start of your story? What is your chorus is going to be your punchline. Your first verse is the start of your story. Your second verse is developing the story a wee bit further. What do you want to say? What's your chorus is your main message. But you have like the crux of a really cool song there. It's really, really good. I love the content of it. Courtney's saying, I find it much easier when playing guitar and writing from melody than writing a story without music. Yeah, it's all about finding what works for you. I write best when I'm not in front of the guitar. The guitar limits me because I'm overthinking. I write my best when I step away from the guitar and I pick up my phone and I just sing. I'm singing from my instinct. I'm singing from my spirit, and remove anything that's an obstacle for you. Work to your strengths, find what your strengths are, and just keep developing it. Keep doing things like this, keep reading books, keep looking at YouTube clips. It's all about starting with where you're at and just trying to get a wee bit better and meeting other people that can add to that, you know. I found out a punchline chorus. Yeah, the chorus is the hardest bit. So it is, because obviously that's the main hook of the song. Di offers songwriting feedback sessions. Yeah, you just hook me up one-on-one. I do a lot of like online like coaching, like songwriting coaching, life coaching, vocal coaching. I do loads of that kind of stuff. So I do. Right. You were absolutely class. Let me see. I'm trying to get all these things. How do I write singing into my phone? Yeah. Juanita said she writes singing into her phone too. I would love to know, before you go, I'd love to know one thing that you have learnt today, just for me to know what's been of benefit to you. Would you mind letting me know one thing that you have learnt that you can bring to your own writing? Do you mind sharing that with me? Alexandra has to jump on another call. It's so lovely of you to join me. Courtney's loving the free writing. Saskia's the number system. Rosie's the free writing. Yeah, I wish we had more time to go into the free writing. That's like a whole workshop in itself. But yeah, it's really powerful. Julia saying tapping into subconscious, making the headspace to write, and Nashville numbers. Yeah, all so good.